Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that make me. Let's talk about sex. Let's talk about sex. Let's talk about doo-doo.
I don't remember any of the words except for what you just said. Let's talk about sex.
Dooba-dooba-dooba-dooba-dooba-doob. How do some couples continuously elevate their passion? Is there truly only one perfect person for us? Or maybe what we practice and how we think will ultimately nurture or destroy a relationship? Crank up the volume while we dive into the depths of love, passion, and sex to uncover simple concepts that will both surprise you and transform your life forever. Welcome to Intimacy Exposed. Hello and welcome to another episode of Intimacy Exposed. I'm your host, Crystal.
And co-host husband John.
Hello, John. How are you this morning?
It's weird. I'm sitting right beside you.
I know.
Okay.
I'm talking to you.
I'm doing great.
That's great. Igniting the Passion is our episode today, and we're going to start off with a little bit of what defines passion. Passion can mean a lot of different things. I think it describes a really broad range of parts of a relationship. So, John, take it away. What do you think we can discuss about defining passion?
Bow chicka chicka bow chicka bow wow.
Well, I think we all know what John thinks passion is.
That's a part of passion, yes. Sex, sexy time. So other things that encompass passion would be like personal displays of affection. This could be hand holding, cuddling, hugging, sex.
You don't have sex in public.
Oh, yes, that's right. Sorry, you'll go to jail for that, or at least end up on Facebook. Compliments, surprises,
being
what?
spontaneous
Yeah.
with your partner.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which could mean sex in public. But we're not saying go do that. But what you could do in public is pinch your partner's butt. Hold your partner's hand. Just be spontaneous, especially if you don't think your partner's going to expect it as a characteristic in your relationship or just maybe in that moment.
Absolutely. Another form of passion, or at least a way to be passionate, is to be vulnerable, to be open to the moment, to be fully engaged and present in that.
Yeah, and sometimes that might be doing something that you don't normally do with your partner, or something that maybe is a little bit outside of your comfort zone that could have something to do with sex. But it could also be like, we know a few people who don't really share passionate or intimate moments in public, meaning we don't see them hold hands, and being able to cross that boundary and enter into another area and share that, share holding hands in public, a little kiss, saying something really sweet about your partner to your partner in public. Those are other ways that you can share passion.
I think a good thing to keep in mind is that passion would be anything that brings you and your partner closer, whether it creates more proximity or creates an intimate moment. So that's kind of like a good guidepost. What do you think?
Yeah, no, anything that creates a moment where you may want to kiss your partner, you may want to hold hands, you may want to just start to discuss on how much you love each other. So passion can mean a lot of different things. And, you know, I'm interested to hear a little bit of conversation about what passion might mean to you that, you know, maybe is not something that we've already discussed. So head over to our Facebook page and post that under our new episode being revealed, and let's have a conversation about that. Another interesting point is once you start experiencing or creating passion, it's kind of like a self-fulfilling loop. The more that you start creating it, the more that you want to, the more your partner wants to, and it just kind of picks up momentum like a snowball. That's an analogy, like a snowball.
Whoa. This is you're stepping on my toes here.
Hey, I get to have analogies too.
Well, I have nothing else to say for the rest of the episode.
Does that make you more passionate towards me? Oh no, you're jealous.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, it is like a self-fulfilling loop. And I know that there's going to be hesitation from some people out there because maybe your partner doesn't do the things that you're going to do. And maybe that voice in the back of your head says, well, why should I be the one to do it first? Well, somebody has to take the initiative. So it might as well be you.
Mm-hmm. A lot of times I'll hear, we all hear this. We see it on movies. People say, and a lot of times I hear it from women saying, well, my partner's just not romantic. And romance, I guess that's another thing we could add to the passion definition. It could mean romance, romancing your partner. If your partner is not romantic, it may mean a few things. It may mean it's not a muscle that they flex. Maybe it's not something they saw in the most influential relationship as they grew up, which would have been probably their parents. And if they didn't see that, they may not know how to model it, or they may feel silly. So just like what John just said, start to practice it yourself. Little kisses on the cheeks, but with a little sweet something that you whisper in their ear. Or maybe as they're leaving the house, you tell them how sexy they are and you smack their butt. Something like that might start to ignite this in someone else who maybe isn't as well versed.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And to state the obvious, if somebody says, well, my partner isn't romantic, I think what they're actually saying is, I have done a very poor job of explaining to my partner what I need to feel loved or passionate or whatever. Your partner probably can't read your mind. If they can, please tell them to contact us because I want to know how. So the only way that this is going to be successful is if you tell your partner, show your partner, and you do it consistently with grace. So moving right into the top 3 things that kill passion. These are the things that you want to avoid. These are the things you want to be aware of. These are the things that you might do and don't want to admit them. But if you do these consistently over the long run, it's going to lead to a very unpassionate relationship.
Disimpassioned relationship? I have no idea.
Your relationship's not going to be great.
It's not going to be passionate, period.
No sex.
Now, a little disclaimer before we go into these 3 things. If you listen to this podcast, you hear these 3 things, and then you live life for a little bit and you realize, wow, I'm doing this. Great. You just recognize something that you might be able to remove from your relationship, remove from your behavior, and that will instantly start to open up a space for more passion. So it's great if you can actually identify that one of these things might be present in your relationship and you can do something about it.
It's kind of like if you had a leak in a boat and you recognize that there was a leak and then you plug the leak.
It's really good that you recognize that there's a leak, because if you didn't, you're going down.
You might drown.
Thanks for your analogy. I really liked
Yes!
it. He was so excited to put that in. I'm going to get more than you. All right. So number 1, a lot of people might have different weights put on each of these, but John and I really feel like the number one thing that reduces passion is criticizing your partner. Having criticism in your relationship will start to deflate your passion, and without passion in a relationship, everything will start to slowly fall apart, like that slow leak in a boat. You don't really know you're going down until you're starting to make bubbles.
It's true. And I think criticism is number 1 by leaps and bounds. And again, you guys out there might have a different one that really resonates with you, or something that happens on a personal level. But Crystal and I have talked about this quite a bit. And criticism comes ahead as number 1 by a long shot.
Why don't you tell me and all of our listeners, what it is that criticism does for you in our relationship?
Yeah, criticism in a relationship, criticism in our relationship, because it does happen. We're not perfect here. We make a lot of mistakes, and fortunately we have tools in place to correct those errors. But when it does happen, when I feel criticized, I immediately feel emasculated. I'm a man, I'm a masculine man. And whether this is true in other people's relationships or not, Crystal and I feel part of my job is to provide for the family. And that doesn't mean that Crystal doesn't provide. And it's actually regardless of what she feels like she needs to contribute to the relationship. I have always felt that my number 1 priority is to make sure that my family is taken care of. That's number 1 for me. She's got a very successful career. That doesn't change the fact that I want to be sole provider. I want to be able to make sure that I could take care of us if I had to, which I can and we do, and I feel great about that. But when I feel criticized, I feel emasculated. I feel like I'm less of a man. I feel like I'm not that, knight in shining armor, or that I'm not allowed to be that knight in shining armor. It takes a really big hit on me and it really hurts me. I feel disconnected from her. I feel like I close off and I can't be vulnerable with her, which just kills passion even more. What about you?
When I'm being criticized, I feel like I'm being judged. And in that moment, I don't feel sexy. I don't feel open. And I definitely don't feel like I can be vulnerable. And I really feel like you need to be vulnerable to be able to share passion with your partner. So yeah, criticism definitely shuts down passion for me.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And it's also, it shuts it down in an instant. And I feel like it takes a fair amount of effort to get rid of that feeling to be able to continue on with being passionate.
What you have to do is be conscious of the other person's needs, be empathetic. Criticism does not mean that you don't provide feedback to your partner. It does not mean that you don't disagree with your partner. It does not mean that you don't support a decision or a comment or something that they made. It just means that the way that you get your concern across is done in a respectful way of their needs. Criticism happens when you think about yourself rather than think about your partner.
The second thing that reduces passion would be routine. I'm going to expand on that, being boredom, no spontaneity. If you have the same kind of routine with your relationship, you guys, you should know how each other are going to react or act in certain situations. But I'm talking, it's date night and you're going to go to a dinner and a movie. It's sexy time and you're going to have exactly the same experience that you've always had. These kinds of things just kill passion because you know exactly what's going to happen. There's no growth in this area if you have the same thing going on day after day. If you were learning a new instrument and you learned the same key, and then you went to your next class and you learned the same key, and the next class, and you're continuing going on, you're going to drop out of that class. You're not going to continue. You're not going to grow.
That is such a valuable point. Routine is very important in a lot of areas of your life. Obviously, you go to work. You want to know that you show up consistently, that your schedule stays the same, that your paychecks come regularly, that they're the same amount. There is time and a place for routine. You want to make sure that you breathe. You probably get up and have a shower, or you get up and have a coffee or breakfast every morning. So routine is incredibly valuable, but it kills passion. It does not exude passion, to what Crystal was saying. And not only, would you start to become bored and you'd feel like it's very predictable, but then your mind would start to go forward and say, okay, well, if this is going to be the same every day, every week, every month, every year for the rest of my life, do I really want to spend that with this person? I think this is where people start to drift. I think this is where passion really dies. I think this is where people start to live for themselves versus the relationship. They may blame it on things like, it's the kids, or, it's the very demanding career. No, I think it's just very predictable. And your mind goes, wow, if this is the best it's ever going to get, I'm checking out.
One of the things in our own relationship, I wouldn't even say necessarily my own relationship, if I knew I had to go to Mexico for every vacation for the rest of our life, I would start to feel a little bit panicky. I love, what keeps me on my toes is being able to know that we might be in a country with new culture, with new language, new people, things that I'm not going to expect. That's what's keeping me going. That's what's keeping me going in our relationship, is that I don't know where we're going to be, but I know we're going to be in a better place down the road. You can't really be vulnerable if you're doing the same thing over and over. And yet vulnerability is what will bring you to the next level of your relationship, get you past a block in your relationship that you've not been able to get past before. So you have to create these vulnerable moments, and what a better time to create them and when you're doing something you've never done before. You're a little bit scared, you're a little bit nervous, you're trying something new. So that could come about in your date night. It could come about in your bedroom. It could come about with what you do with your partner as a routine. When you walk in the door, do you kiss them on the cheek at the same time and you say hello? Instead, spin them in a circle like a ballerina and dip them down and lay one on them. These kinds of things catch your partner off guard. It creates a little bit of spontaneity. And then, I bet you'll feel this too. I felt this so many times. You just become more attracted to your partner, which creates passion all on its own.
It's a very good point. Yeah, I think that's great. One might say it's a recipe for a long-lasting, passionate partnership.
I want to say you never said anything about my beautiful little analogy earlier on.
I was just reveling in it in my head. It's beautiful.
I love you.
I was taken back.
I know you're just jealous that I already have more than you in this episode.
Yes.
All right. So number 3, take it away.
Number 3, insecurities. Whether this be self-consciousness or jealousy, I think jealousy is probably a big one for people, or indecision. Everybody's going to go through moments where you might question yourself. Are you on the right path? Did you make the right decision? Did you make a mistake? It's okay to question yourself. It's okay to be self-conscious. It's okay to be conscious of yourself, aware of what's going on. Jealousy, not okay. If jealousy is occurring, my guess is there's a lot of boundaries or unspoken things that should have been spoken going on. If your mind is wandering to that dark place, you want to take a look at what's really going on. It's not probably anything to do with that moment.
When it comes to jealousy, I think the biggest thing that you want to watch out for is going to be, is this feeling of being jealous happening often? Is it linked to a certain situation that seems to happen all the time? Every time person A leaves the house and goes out with this friend, with this guy friend, with this girlfriend, is this feeling happening quite often? If once in a while you feel jealous, maybe you'd describe it as envious, that could maybe be a bit healthy. I've never really explored this before.
Yeah, no, I think envy is because like Crystal went to South America for a medical mission, maybe 3 years ago now. Mm-hmm. I was envious of her. I was very envious because I wanted to go with her. I wanted to share. She got to climb mountains. She went on a multi-day, trek by herself. She just hung out in hostels with people. I was envious. I was like, man, I want to be there. I want to experience that too. That sounds amazing. But I wasn't jealous. I wasn't like, whatever, screw her. I'm here. She's there. I was very happy for her. I was so supportive and so thrilled. But I was still envious of you. Absolutely.
And I think with that situation specifically, it's because we love doing those things together and separately, but it's always more fun to have it done together because you have all these memories you get to talk about and, share all these great moments together.
Are we talking about sex? Sex is definitely better together.
I would say that you were correct with that, but we're not talking about sex right now. We're talking about insecurities.
Yes.
AKA jealousy.
Yes.
If back to my point, if you are experiencing this quite often, it's a great time to explore that. Why are you feeling that way? Did something happen in your relationship? Did someone cheat? Was there some infidelity at some point? Maybe there's some unresolved issues that you want to go talk to someone about so that you don't have this reoccurring feeling that ends up killing your passion. Because if you're trying to move forward past an incident and yet all of these feelings are continuously coming about, even if they're just mild, there's always going to be some kind of block bringing you back. So you definitely want to deal with that.
Absolutely. And remember to have confidence in yourself. The beautiful thing about what Crystal talked about earlier, growth and spontaneity and all these things are going to lead to uncertainty. They're going to lead to some insecurities. They're going to lead to, if you just quit your job and you've dreamed of starting a business, and I've been through this, I wasn't confident. I was so scared. I was like, oh my God, what did I just do? I left the confines, the safety and security of what society calls normal. I just quit my job. Holy crap, what did I do? There was a lot of uncertainty. I was a little insecure. I was a little self-conscious. But I had confidence in myself. I knew that I could do it. I absolutely knew with conviction I could do it.
And you know what's sexy and triggers passion? Seeing someone make a decision, seeing someone like your partner make a decision and then say, yeah, that's it. That's what I'm going after. I'm confident I'm going to do that. Let's do it. What the heck? You know, like seeing your partner actually grab that confidence, even if they don't have it at the beginning, and run with it, that creates passion. So that insecurity, you definitely want to deal with that and minimize how many times that comes up in your relationship.
Yeah. And make sure when it comes to making decisions that you're decisive. As I mentioned earlier, indecisiveness can be unsexy. Decisiveness, taking control of the situation, having conviction in what you're doing, saying yes, making a commitment, pledging an oath, and going forward, it absolutely breeds passion.
On a serious note, yet less serious than what we're talking about, say you're going on a date night and you ask, well, what do you want to do? And the answer you get is, I don't know, you pick. And you're hearing that all the time. Once in a while, like we all have an indecisive moment. But if you're hearing something like that constantly, it gets a little tiring. Make a decision. Decide that you're going to figure something out that's going to be really fun. Be creative. Because if you're hearing that constantly, it gets a little bit dreary in your relationship that person just doesn't know what we want to do.
Absolutely. I actually find that I do this quite a bit in my relationship with you when we go to a restaurant, because you always end up ordering the better meal.
It's true. I always pick the best things.
Yes. So I am indecisive because I'm like, no matter what I pick, she's going to have something better than me. So I just started to just ask you what you want.
I know. And I try to keep it a secret because I want to order it and be special.
It's true. All right. So let's move into the top 3 things that ignite passion. Things that really bring you closer together. Things that just turn you on, turn your partner on, light a fire in your relationship.
Ow, ow.
Number 1, especially important, I believe, in this day and age, in 2019 and going forward, I think number 1 is only going to get stronger and stronger. It's presence. We have so many distractions nowadays. There are so many demands for our attention. I am one of those people who is ancient enough to remember the conception of the internet. I remember having a course in like grade 4, grade 6 on how to create a website. And I was like, why am I doing this? What is this internet? I don't understand. Now we get bombarded by notifications, dings, vibrations, alerts so often that it's become the norm. But it's not normal. Presence is so important. And because I think it's being drained so quickly from our society, it's becoming so much more valuable. It's a resource that we are starting to really, really respect and appreciate. So being present and engaged with your partner in all interactions. We all have times when we're distracted, or maybe your partner catches you in the middle of something. I'm not saying always drop everything for your partner, but be authentic. Let your partner know you're fully engaged. Let them feel that you're listening to them, that you're truly connected, that you're committed to the quality of your relationship. Put down your phone. I say this probably every couple episodes, and I'm going to repeat it again and again and again. Put down your bloody phone. That thing is a computing superpower and has so many wonderful characteristics and allows for such a huge increased quality of life in certain areas. And it also kills the quality of your life and your relationship and so many others. So be present. And remember that just like most things in your life, if you want presence from your partner, first you must give it to them. Initiate that. Take action. Put down your phone, shut the TV off, wait till the kids are asleep, or move yourself into a different room that's quiet. Be present with them. Anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah. I definitely believe that in general, if you would like your partner to be more present, you want to be heard, you want them to look you in the eye. Yeah, I like what you said. When you want presence in your relationship, you must first give it. Some things that John and I see when we go out for supper, it's really disheartening. You'll see 2 people sitting at a table, whether they're friends or whether they're lovers, And instead of looking at each other talking, they're staring at phones. And there's no communication going on, and there's such a disconnect, and it's really hard to watch. So yes, if you want presence in your relationship, you must give it. You must start to demand it as well.
That reminds me of something else, actually. Not only do we see this when we go to restaurants, we see this so much when we travel. For the people who travel, you've been to an airport, and what do you see nowadays? I see two main things that have changed in the last, say, 3 years. You've got charging stations that attract people like moths to a light. Everybody's gathered around their device on these little terminals, charging everything, completely unaware of what the hell is going on. Or number two, the thing that really pains me, the thing that really irks me, I saw this maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I was traveling. I think it was the Houston airport. Got off a flight, or I'm just boarding a flight. And I look over at the restaurant and I'm like, what the hell? And now jammed in the middle of every single table is what? 2 iPads. Smack in the middle. You can't even communicate with your other person properly now. You're blocked completely. Absolutely infuriates me. So we can't stop this. So what did Crystal and I do? We were sitting at a bar side by side, and all the screens are there. So we actually turned the screens off and then took them out of the holder and put them face down. So you may not be able to completely get away from it, but the screens turn off. We shut the screens off, and we created as much presence as we could. It's getting more and more demanding because that's the way you order. That's the way that your bill comes. That's the way that you pay. But you have to take control. You have to create that presence for yourself and your partner.
This actually, the reason I'm going to bring this next point up is this happened with John and I the other day, and I absolutely appreciated what ended up happening. I had something that I really wanted to discuss with John. Now, John has a really demanding job. He also works from home. So sometimes he'll come up to our bedroom, say hi to our little new son, give me a kiss. But I wouldn't say he's fully present because he's taking a break from work and coming up to see us. And as much as I appreciate that, it's not generally the time that I'm going to bring up something that's really deep and I need his full attention. So in the evening, I think he was done work, but sometimes that still trails in his mind what happened during his day. So I needed to talk to him about something very important. I needed his full attention, and I needed him to dedicate about 15 minutes to me completely. So I asked him, I need your attention. I need to talk to you about something, and I really want your full presence. And if it's not right now, that's completely fine. You tell me when is a good time. And when he gave it to me, I felt like I was the only person in the world. So if you need that from your partner, all you have to do is ask and be okay if it's not that moment, because then that person's actually honoring you. All right. So point number 2, when we're talking about the top 3 things that ignite passion, thoughtfulness. Number 2 is thoughtfulness. This kind of takes us back to think about the first year of your relationship. All of these things that you did for your partner, all these things you did for yourself that created moments where your partner got to feel special. You complimented them. You said beautiful things about them. You told them how sexy they are. You smacked them on the butt. You wrote them love notes. We've had a couple of episodes actually that have really discussed these points. But that's exactly what it is. We're igniting passion by doing this. And that's why it's so butterflies and rainbows at the beginning of a relationship, because you are constantly thinking about your partner's needs. You're constantly thinking, what's going to light them up? What's going to set them on fire? What's going to make them more attracted to me? Usually at the very beginning, it's all about what you can do for your partner so that they love you, so that they fall in love with you. That's kind of where we're at the beginning of a relationship. I'm not really sure what it is, but we lose that over time.
That's a really, really good point, and something I want to loop back to. The reason that you think about your partner, the reason that you have all this passion, you're so excited, everybody says, oh, the beginning of the relationship was amazing. It's because you didn't criticize them. You didn't sweat the small stuff. You didn't care. They were not things you hated. They were quirks. They were cute little things. Now they're not quirks and cute little things. They're little things that you can't stand. Oh my God, stop doing that. You twitch all the time, or you don't put the toilet seat down, or you leave the lights on, or the laundry's on the floor. Ah!
Except for we're never even telling our partner that. You're just saying that in your head and letting it get all balled up. But yeah, no, it's so true.
Yeah, I had to jump in.
So when you think about the things that you did at the beginning of your relationship, by getting back to that, starting to do that again, just immediately start thinking about what it is you could do to create a moment where you're thinking about your partner and you're doing something to make them smile. You're doing something to make them fall in love with you even more. You're doing something that you did at the very beginning. Even if it's for a nostalgic purpose, you take them on that date, which was the first date you ever went on. You reenact it. Very thoughtful, and that completely contributes to igniting passion back in your relationship.
Absolutely. So with thoughtfulness, meeting your partner's needs, anticipating what they want, 100% thinking about them. Another thing is appreciate or have gratitude for the good things. Appreciate and have gratitude for the things they do, not the things they don't. Far too often we focus on what we don't have, but we don't focus on what we do have. Does your partner always make you dinner? Do they clean up the house? Do they always bring you a coffee on the weekend? Do they clean your laundry? Do they always give you a back massage after a long, hard day? What things do you share with your partner that you probably don't have with anybody else? And are you really appreciating them enough?
One of the quotes that we love in our household is something we learned from Tony Robbins. And I loved the way it sounded when I first heard it, but the meaning behind it is so powerful, especially the second you start incorporating this into your life. Trade your expectation for appreciation. Now, it sounds good. It's got a little bit of a ring to it. But when you trade expecting your partner to do something for appreciating something, anything that your partner does, it changes your perspective on that moment. It changes how you feel about your partner. It's something that if you started to incorporate it, you would see results immediately.
100% agree. This is not some hairy-fairy statement of like altruism that's not possible. You can take action on this right now. You could pause this podcast, think of a moment, and you could do this immediately. And I'm telling you wholeheartedly, because I do this every single day, it changes your physiology in a second. In 1 second, you will go from angry or frustrated or disappointed or disrespected or agitated. Now, I'm not saying it'll be a complete 180 shift, but it greatly reduces the feelings and completely creates a space that your mind all of a sudden goes, well, okay, maybe there's another possibility here. Because if you create a story about your partner and then you start thinking about it in your head, you start practicing that. It starts to become a reality because you start to find proof that it's true. I want to tell about a quick story because this happened last night. Last night this happened. I was out for a training run. I'm doing an ultra marathon coming up soon. Crystal and I didn't have defined plans, but she had messaged earlier in the day and said, hey, you know what? Do you think we can hang out tonight? And I was like, 100%, would love to. It's been raining like crazy. My run's going to get pushed a little bit later, but shouldn't be a problem. I think I'll be home by, 7:38. Went for my run. I was like, yeah, I'm going to be home by 8. I'll see you then. During my run, I just was like, man, I'm feeling really good. My race is coming up soon. I really want to put some extra volume in just to make sure that I'm well prepared. So I messaged her, you know what, babe, I'm feeling great. I'm going to keep going. I just need to get the volume in now because I'm going to really, really appreciate the extra effort I do in practice. I'm not going to be home at 8. I don't know when I'm going to be home, but I love you. I'll see you later. I didn't get home till 9:30. I cranked out a 3-hour training run, and I messaged her about 45 minutes to an hour in. So for 2 hours, I was playing a story in my head. Why hasn't she texted me back? She got my 3 different text messages. I know she did. I'm sure she did. Why didn't she message me? Why didn't she say, okay, sounds good, love you, have fun, be safe, see you soon? Why didn't she support me? Why didn't she recognize it? Was she mad at me? Why is she mad at me? She has no reason to be mad at me. I can't believe she's mad at me. And I started creating the story in my head. And then, thankfully, I've practiced this enough that another voice said, whoa, John, just pump the brakes, buddy. What else could be going on to, cause her not to text you back? What else could it be aside from that she's this horrible person who thinks nothing about herself and she hates you? And I came up with a list, and the longer you make the list, the more power you give to it, because it's easy to focus on the negatives. So I said, okay, what else could it be? Well, she's with our son and she's with her parents. Maybe she's enjoying the moment, doesn't have her phone on. That'd be awesome. Maybe she's driving home from seeing her parents and she's not looking at her phone with my son in the car. Awesome. That's cool. Maybe she's at home and she had a hell of a night. Our son was just cranky. He was crying maybe, and she's just really irritated and she just needs a little bit more time for herself. Maybe she's having a bath. That's pretty cool. Maybe she's waiting till I get home to surprise me with a bath or a meal. Maybe she wrote me a note. Maybe she's so tired she went to bed and she just forgot to. The phone was in her hand and she got halfway through the message and passed out. This is literally everything that went through my head. And for 2 hours, I went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And when I got home, I reinforced the positives, walked into the house. She was upstairs with our son, and she'd left a note on dinner saying, "Hope you had a great run. Come upstairs and kiss us when you get back. Love you." So my entire story that I built up in my head was fake. It was false. It was not real, but it's powerful. Don't forget that it's powerful, but don't focus on it. Focus on your appreciation, not your expectations.
It doesn't take almost any time at all to snap out of that and trade your expectation for appreciation. So yeah.
Awesome. Number 3, and the last thing to ignite passion in your relationship, is growth and progress. No matter if your career, your parenting skills, if you're a drummer, if you run, if you just have a book club, a wine club, whatever, we get ignited and committed by seeing progress, by seeing growth, by challenging ourselves, by pushing the envelope. If you allow this horrible, horrible C word to become present in your relationship, it will kill passion. And that C word is comfortable. If you find yourself comfortable, that's a bad place to be. Now, I'm not saying that every single day, you should scare the crap out of yourself and go skydiving and cliff jumping and this. You probably should anyway. It's actually a lot of fun, and it does scare the crap out of you. But growth, progress, always working towards a better version of yourself. It doesn't even have to be massive, massive things. Maybe you suffer from anxiety, or you allow yourself to focus on the negatives. Well, your partner picks up on that energy. Your partner knows. And because that's become a habit, or maybe it's a very strong muscle you flex, they come to expect it. So what if you focused on the positives and you had gratitude and appreciation and you worked on your anxiety? What if you went for a massive workout, just kicked your butt, came home? Your partner would feel the difference in you. Radiates across so many different contexts. So growth and progress. Anything you want to say about that?
Yeah, no, it's easy to see the benefits of growth and progress and how you feel about your partner if you see something like that. Picture one thing that they did that you were so proud of them to do. They grew most likely to accomplish that, and you were proud of them. And it makes you want to, when you're proud of someone or someone has an accomplishment, what do? You run up to them, you hug them, you say something nice about what they just did. Those are all the things that will start to get the ball rolling in creating passion.
100%. In fact, not the only reason, but a big reason I'm training for an ultra marathon right now is because of Crystal. I was more of an avid runner when we got together. She was more of a recreational runner. And in a matter of a few years, she far surpassed me and completely turned my beliefs about what you can do upside down. And I was like, holy crap. Not only was I all of a sudden starting to push and grow myself, I was way more attracted to her. I was like, wow, this girl is sexy. Holy, she's pushing herself. I didn't think she could do that. I can't do that. Wow. She's mine.
And just as a side note, all of you listening to this right now, if you followed us through these episodes one by one and you've reached episode 13, which you're listening to right now, you've heard him talk about this story of me running my ultra and it inspiring him. So you've heard it a few times. I've heard it a few times. That makes me fall in love with him even more. The fact that he continues to talk about how I inspired him to do this one thing, it makes me feel more passionate towards our relationship. So, that ties in a whole bunch of things that we've already talked about. Thoughtfulness and growth and progress. All of these things tie together, and you can quite easily see how they come together to create passion.
Now, the elephant in the room, the one that I've introduced many times and the one that you're hopefully laughing about, is sex. Sex is a huge part of passion, and sex creates passion. We think it's so important that it actually deserves its own episode. So we're not going to talk about it today. Passion has many, many different tentacles that we've talked about, and I think we've introduced enough today, but we are going to, bring it up again and go much more deep into sex by itself.
You said tentacle. And sex.
I love you.
I'm immature. All right. So as you know, we're going to be saving sex for a separate episode. So now everything we've talked about in this episode, we know that we're not telling you anything groundbreaking new that you've never heard before. But there's a difference between knowing something and practicing it, especially on a regular basis. We all know that we shouldn't eat junk food, but McDonald's is one of the largest companies in the world. So what does that tell you? We know that we're not supposed to do something, or that we are supposed to do something. But once you start practicing it, that's where the real magic comes in.
As Morpheus said in The Matrix, there's a difference between knowing the path and walking the path.
Well said.
Yes. Yes.
It might be easy to think your partner doesn't do these things for you. So why would you go and do all of these things for your partner if you're not receiving it? Do you remember being in a coffee shop and someone paid for your coffee? The second that person paid for your coffee, it inspired you. I'm going to pay for the person behind me. And you know what? Why don't I cover the person behind him too? I feel like I'm having a great day. You feel that because someone did it for you. So you know what? Start the fire. Do some of these things that we've been listing. Do them for your partner. Do them for yourself, essentially. And once you start doing this for your partner's going to start feeling special, which is exactly what you want to feel. So once you start getting the ball rolling, your partner, I guarantee, is going to follow behind and start doing these things for you as well.
Absolutely. 100%. And if you do find that you're a little hesitant, or that you maybe do it once, but then, you don't get the response or the reaction you hoped for because you were expecting it instead of appreciating it, you were actually doing it for yourself, not them. Just remember, there could be layers of hurt feelings. There could be boundaries that have been crossed. There could be things that still need to be addressed before you can really flourish. So go back to our previous episodes about effective fighting, 2-part series. Go through the care process. Integrate that. Clean out the closet of hurt feelings. Because Crystal is 100% right. Once you start to do this for your partner is going to notice. They're not ignorant and stupid. They're going to pick up on you're doing something different consistently. They will in turn start doing that as well.
So with that being said, doing things right now, starting to do things that you've never done before, or probably things that you haven't done since the beginning of your relationship. Now is the time to start. So that's what we're going to dive into right now. Practical things that you can start doing right now that are going to start immediately igniting passion in your relationship.
Talk your partner up. Compliment them. Spend time thinking about and appreciating and having gratitude for what they do and who they are. This will create more respect for them, and the passion will ensue. I'm 100% know this to be true. Remember that in all areas of your life, what you focus on expands.
And on to that point, almost the reverse. Talking badly about your partner will begin to chip away your passion immediately. Your desire for your partner, it comes to a stop the second you start talking badly about them. If you ever, we've talked about this before, if you ever take part in that, jumping on the bandwagon and starting bashing your partner to other people, the second that you find yourself doing that, stop it. Because what you're doing is you're chipping away your passion. You're shutting down your desire for your partner.
Yeah, and you're just reinforcing and creating that story about them, which is probably not even true.
Mm-hmm. So something that you can do if you're not sure exactly how to talk about your partner in a positive way, focus on some things that they're really good at. Think about something that they accomplished and talk about it. Like, even if you're a little shy about that to begin with, just get the ball moving. Hey, remember when you went back to school 7 years ago? Do you remember how strong you were when you birthed our child? That was such a cool moment. Find something that was a natural talent, especially natural, something that came naturally for them by talking about it and bringing them up and thinking about what they contributed to that moment. You could start there.
Yeah. You can also do something for your partner that you'll know they would love and appreciate with no expectation of getting anything in return. Maybe your partner works, a very physical career, very demanding career, and they come home and you sit them down after a long day and you give them like a 10-minute shoulder massage, just completely focused on them. Now, with some of these, acts of kindness or things that you're going to be doing, it is good to explain what's going on, because your partner may be feeling this is a little bit unusual. They don't normally do this or act this way. What's going on? Why are they doing this? What do they want? So it's great to just get it out in the open. You know what, babe? I know that you work really hard. Or you know what, babe? I could tell that you were really stressed. Or you know what? You seemed really tired. So this is why I did this. That's all. And it's not a bragging contest, but they deserve to understand why you're doing it. And you deserve to be able to explain to them so that there's clarity and you can go forward together.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Another thing you can do starting right now is plan a date night. Now, we all know that you guys are doing date nights at least once a week.
Absolutely.
Now, something that you can do for your partner that's very thoughtful is plan a date night that has nothing to do with your needs. It has nothing to do with the things that you like to do. Maybe you also like to do the same things that your partner likes, but plan a date night focused exactly around what your partner desires. Maybe they love cars, especially a certain model of car. Go take one for a test drive. Plan to go get your partner behind the wheel of one of their favorite vehicles, pretending you want to buy it, and go take it for a test drive. Watch their face light up when they get behind the wheel of like a 3 Series BMW or, an Audi or something like that, or something super fancy. Something that they've wanted to do, something that maybe you've seen them light up before around, but they've never actually done themselves. Plan a date night completely for them.
To loop back to sex and intimacy, we're not going to talk too much, but because it's so important and it's such a massive part of a relationship, create a space for intimacy. That spontaneity, that randomness has so much passion to it. But life gets busy. Life is very organized at times. So maybe you set it in your calendar. This time on this day is what we're going to do, and I'm going to create some space. But you don't share it with your partner. Make sure that whatever objections could come up, the kids, the laundry, the deadline, this and that you take away those objections. Yeah, you know what, babe? I got a sitter. Yeah, you know what, babe? Laundry's already done. Yeah, you know what, babe? We're actually doing skip the dishes. You don't have to worry about dinner. Take away those objections, create a space for intimacy. Set it in your calendar, but keep it a secret so that to them it's a massive surprise.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. These are the things that we can do right now in our relationship to increase passion and ignite your relationship. So the top 3 things that kill passion in a relationship: criticizing your partner, routine or boredom in your relationship, insecurities or jealousy. These are the things that you want to avoid, and we've given you some tools on how you can stop doing these things in your relationship. This will help preserve your passion that you have currently. Now, the top 3 things that will increase your passion: being present in your relationship for yourself and your partner, thoughtfulness and creating moments where you can do things for your partner that make them feel special, and growth and progress personally and within your relationship. These are the things that if you can start chipping away at, start creating moments where you can be thoughtful, be present, and grow. These are the things that are going to create passion. Thank you for joining us for our 13th episode, Igniting the Passion.
And if you've been enjoying the episodes, please share it with your friends, family, coworkers. Let's get this message out. It's far too valuable to be living a subpar life. We want to create a world-class relationship and a world-class life for everybody out there.
Thanks, everyone. Stay connected.
Thanks so much. We started this podcast because we are both extremely passionate about personal growth and development. Without fully understanding the benefits at the time, we actually began seeing a counselor at the beginning of our relationship to gain tools and learn more about ourselves. That eventually led to multi-day workshops, physical books, audiobooks, and as many other resources as we could get our hands on because we saw such massive results. But we want to take you on a ride and share some of our most important lessons and discoveries that have made the biggest impact to us.
Whether you're single, looking for love, or have already found that special person, we aim to be the #1 resource to help you design your world-class relationship. For more information on topics and to join the conversation, please visit us on Facebook at facebook.com/world-class relationship. Join us next time for another episode of Intimacy Exposed.